taking this blindfold off to see what this life's all about. Threw my virtues to the ground, drinking from the devil's cup. Take that pill, drink it down, flashing lights all around. High as hell, drunk like I finally don't give a fuck. 'Cause I'm breaking all the rules tonight. Not going down without a fight. As long as I'm still breathing, doesn't matter how hard you might try. We can take this freedom.
Hey everybody, this is the Overpass Live. My name is Eric and I make apps. Welcome to the first video, the first live stream of April, the first live stream of the second quarter of 2019. I did a video like for Monday this week, which I was saying that, you know, I'm getting my mojo back. I'm getting like, you know what, new week, new month. We're gonna, you know, start over. None of this moping around kind of stuff. And I forgot to mention that it's actually like a new quarter. I can't believe that 3 months of 2019 have already gone past. So, and this has been a it's been an interesting week. We haven't you know, I guess it's been a pretty quiet week. So I did a video a couple weeks ago where I talked about Brexit, and for some reason it didn't record, so I never did it again because there was nothing really positive to say about it. Just like for me, work has slowed down quite a lot over the last 6 weeks or so. I think it's not a lot of new clients coming in, which is fine. We're dealing with it. We're coping with it, you know, in different ways. That's one of the reasons why the Mustang was, you know, I think get something smaller payments. You gotta make sure we can handle everything as it comes through. You know, the things are starting to go, but just waiting for that to go through and them to sort their business out. And I don't know a whole lot about the politics of it. And if there's one thing you get tired of hearing about over here is like people arguing about Brexit. But you know, it's just sort of, for me, that's how it's affecting. And I've talked to other businesses that are doing really well because of it. I was talking to somebody last week, and she was telling me that moving companies are really suffering. So she works with all these kinds of companies. Says moving companies are really suffering because people aren't moving because they're holding off to find out. But storage companies are doing really well because people are buying in bulk just in case things go wrong, and that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's been on my mind a lot over the last week and last several weeks. However, it has been nice this week to focus on some of our own projects. I spent all day Monday on a Flutter project, and I didn't work any other days on it this week, which is actually typical of me, starting something, getting all excited about it, and then getting distracted onto something else. So I finish off some client stuff. So anyway, let me just say, Mega Man, thanks, you're first. Rodrigo, Sujit, hello, how's it going? Cord Funk, hey, Cord Funk, how's it going? Dolly Advertising, hey, how's it going? Sujit, hello, Eric, hey, how's it going? Cooper, hello, Cooper, hello. Hi, Eric and y'all. Eric, have you stocked up on food? Eric, have I stocked up on food? Look, I'm an American. I always have a healthy supply of food around. Or actually, I have an unhealthy supply of food around, really, to be honest with you. So no, I haven't. Although, I did went to Costco like a month ago, and I bought like a whole bunch of beans. Because I was like, I don't want to go overboard and be one of these people who has like a shelter in case of an emergency. However, if there's ever an emergency, those people are going to be the ones who will be laughing last. So I always think, oh, yeah, you know what, I don't want to go, you know, get a bunch of disaster supplies and be all like that, like it's a, you know. But in the end, I did put these beans aside. Said, just in case. But I think everything will be fine. I think, but you know, it's just. I think everything's going to be fine. It's not the doom and gloom everybody says it's going to be. At least I don't think it will be. Or some people say it's going to be. Other people say it's going to be like Y2K, this thing that everybody's worried about. And for me, the thing that worries me is the fact that everybody's worrying, like because everyone's holding off on making purchasing decisions, and that's what's holding off in terms of the client work. So we're going to focus more on our own applications, which is good and bad. The bad bit is that the money going out, I had to, we have to make adjustments there in the company, and so that we're not spending too much, but at the same time, it gives me time to focus on some of our own applications and on the videos too. So that was the one thing where I thought, I don't want to stop doing the videos. However, just let me tell you guys, there's going to be no video tomorrow or Sunday. So I haven't done any videos for the weekend. All right. I thought about just pulling back and doing fewer of them, but it is fun. It's like my favorite thing to do in the day is to do the videos. And I know sometimes, especially this past week, I'll film a little bit of driving and I'll put a little montage in there and that kind of stuff. I just find fun. I just enjoy doing that. And then yesterday I took a whole bunch of selfies in the office because I don't know if you guys saw the picture on the community tab of me making that high jump. I was playing around with the GoPro in the office yesterday, and that was kind of one of those, Rowena on my team says, Eric, I need some pictures of you for Instagram. And I was doing all these pouts and everything like that. I was just sort of like just playing around, not giving a serious answer. And then I thought I got the GoPro out and thought I'd practice some action shots, which I've never used it for before. And then do my high jumping thing, which was fun, right? And I was in a better mood after that. Let's see. Mega Man says, is your company based in Ireland or the UK? How is Brexit affecting it? So yeah, like I said, Mega Man, it's based in the UK, so we're in Oxfordshire, outside of Oxford. So it shouldn't be affecting it really, because because the app income it shouldn't affect at all. The client income is mainly the reason it's being affected is just, I think, we had a lot of inquiries come through. We still get inquiries through, so we still have stuff that we're doing, but we're not closing on anything. So things just seem to be got really slow all of a sudden. So, and I think a lot of people out there are waiting to do their application, they might be waiting to see what's going to happen first. Because it's mostly businesses that I'm working with, and it depends on the type of business. A lot of our businesses are not construction, but like manufacturing. So I'm sure they're going to be hit by certain things depending on what happens. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So that's kind of the thing. So Hawk, hey Hawk, how's it going? Thank you for your email earlier this week, Hawk. Let's see. Rodrigo says, have you noticed Google people move the payments thing from the UK to the Europe? I haven't noticed that, but I do know that. Yeah, I mean, for me, when I came out here, and I talked about this before, I worked in the financial district, and it was like so huge and glossy and glamorous almost, just to go in. From, like I said, I was working in a factory packing yogurt, and then the next night I go to Canary Wharf, and it's like, wow. I mean, there's a lot of wealth there and a lot of that. And I wonder if that's going to change at all. But I hesitate because I really know very little about it. I know what I read in the news. I haven't really been following. I'm like not an authority on this. I don't have an opinion for or against, to be honest with you. Which sounds like like it sounds really wishy-washy. But I just kind of I'm still an American citizen. I didn't vote in it because I'm an American citizen. After all these years, I don't have British citizenship. So it's I think everything's going to be fine. Regardless of what happens, but right now it's the uncertainty that's causing the issues at the moment, I think. So let's see. Yusuf Adi says, can you give us some advice about Amazon? I assume you say Amazon Appstore. Okay, so yeah, let's talk a little bit about Amazon Appstore. Making English fun. Evening all. Hey, how's it going? Any advice on how to get 1,000 subs? I got a pretty cool water spout video, but I can't monetize it. So yeah, I did. Making English fun. I did see that video. You put it in a comment earlier. This week I did look at it, and I was like, you do have a lot of views on it, but how come you can't monetize it? Is it because you need what is it? Do you need to have like 1,000? Do you need to have 1,000 subscriptions before you can monetize now? Because I don't think that was the case when I started the channel. Because I had less than 1,000 for a long time. I also got a couple of app questions. Cool. Let's go to the app questions. So first of all, Yusuf Adis asked. You guys can hear me, right? Yeah, you can, because we're talking about stuff. So Yusuf Addy says, can you give us some advice about the Amazon App Store? Yusuf, to be honest with you, I haven't uploaded anything to the Amazon store in a couple of years. And for a while, that was part of the process. It was uploading to Google Play, Samsung App Store, Amazon, and to iOS, obviously. And then we did a few others. Like we tried Slide It and a few other of the app stores that are out there. I've never done Huawei, and it's one of those things where I probably should do. And for Amazon, the nice thing was that we could just we could just take the application and then repackage it. And I mean, we didn't even have to repackage it. You could just upload the APK. We still use AdMob. Like a lot of people say, can you still use AdMob? And we did. So we were still monetizing with AdMob. But like in-app purchases have to be a little bit different because you're connected to a different app store, obviously. Right, so that's one of the things that makes it just a little bit different, doing the in-app purchases through the Amazon App Store. But I didn't see a lot of success with it. And I've talked to other developers who have, and every so often I think I probably should go back to it. But my biggest app, EarSpy, I haven't like I haven't done any of the updates to it. It's still out. I think it's still on there. Occasionally I'll get like, I get a payment for like $1.98 each month or something like that. It's like a small, like I'm surprised that I'm even getting those payments through, because I completely just disowned it. It was like, and it wasn't so much that, it was mainly just like another thing to look at. It was like another thing to do, another, and they were a bit more pushy than Google Play was. So like they would send me an email saying, we noticed the Google Play version is 1.2.5 and the Amazon version is 1.2.3, and you should update it to that. So that they used to do that a lot, and I was kind of like, you know, fine, I'll do it. But nobody's downloading it over on Amazon. At least they weren't for me at the time. But it's worth giving it a try, especially if you're an Android developer. If you're an Android developer, you have a lot of different places to go to. Now the screenshot sizes are a little bit different. I've never used the God, what is it? So like if you're going to use Google Play Game Services, there's an equivalent for Amazon. I can't remember what it is because we just never did it. And they also have that thing where you have is it Amazon Coins? I think it's something where you have something where it's based on the time that they spend in it, you can get paid on that. And that's something I never even put into it. And the apps that I had on there were Corona SDK. And one of the reasons I didn't do a lot of that stuff was because Corona at the time didn't implement it into their platform at the time. Although I did some of it with the native applications. And the only reason I haven't kept it up was just because I just didn't see the downloads on it. And I just sort of lost interest. And it's not really, which is lazy of me. It's something I feel ashamed to tell you guys this, because it just was, after a while I was like, oh, I can't be bothered. But that doesn't say you shouldn't try, right? You might really strike it big on Amazon, because you think about it, if you're on Amazon, you have another search engine that people could find you through. So if you think about some of the top search engines out there, you've got Google, obviously, Google Play, which is kind of the same, YouTube, which is still owned by Google, and you got Amazon. So if somebody is searching on Amazon for a product based on what you offer, if it's something that's useful to them, like especially like an educational game, like if I want to learn Chinese, I might be looking for a book on learning Chinese and an app comes up, for example. So it's like another place to be found. But I just kind of gave up on it, and it was made, a lot of it was, yeah, I just, you know, it was like I was so much focused on Google Play because that's where all the revenue was coming from, and I was optimizing that, and I was tweaking that, and those tweaks never even made it over to Amazon just because of laziness. Sorry to admit that. Let's see, making English fun. Advice on how to get 1,000 subscribers. Now it took me ages to get subscribers, and if you look at the channel, like a lot of you guys talk about how few subscribers I have, we're nearly at 21,000, and I look at other channels that might be similar, or but they got a lot more subscribers, and I occasionally I'll look at it and say, what are they doing that's different? What, you know, or maybe, but I'm also fine with it. I'm actually really pleased to get, you know, all those subscribers. I'm glad you guys are here. It makes me feel less lonely throughout the day when I'm doing stuff, and if I have an issue, it's nice that we could talk about these kind of things, and if you guys have issues, you bring those kind of stuff up too. Yeah, for me, monetization, I didn't even start monetizing. I didn't even start monetizing until after the channel had been around for a couple of years, just because I know how little the monetization is. So, but I do have ads on the channel now, and they bring in about, I think, about $200 a month, which might seem pretty good, but I'm gonna do a video every day, and the danger of having like as an app company to have ads at the beginning, they bring a little bit of money and it's better than nothing, but at the same time any competitor can run an ad in front of one of our videos. So it's yeah, there's that. And also it's kind of annoying. So every so often I toy with the idea of maybe we just remove the ads from the videos and just not monetize it that way and try to do something else, right? But I go to a lot of YouTube events, so I get invited to YouTube events. When I got to over 1,000 subscribers, I started getting invited to the YouTube events in London. And when I got over 10,000, I started invited to like a different class of, so like people like the last event I went to at YouTube, there were people there who had 1.3 million subscribers, or it was like everybody I talked to. I had 14,000 at the time, and everybody had way more than me. Like it was almost like I felt like I was at the big boy table, but I was still the youngest one there. So everybody had way more than me, but they talked about monetization a lot, and they talked about demonetization and the Google algorithms that are demonetizing. It's a lot like the ad mob issues that we have. It's so many people are getting their ads suspended or their platform suspended, their apps ads suspended from AdMob because of an algorithm. So it's not even a person doing it. It's just an algorithm finds something, and so you get the email, you can appeal it, but you can't email anybody, you can't phone anybody, and then you appeal it and they say yes or no. But it is that kind of thing. And it starts to think, how valid is YouTube as a long-term revenue strategy, right? And or even AdMob. I mean, AdMob has been really good to me, so it's not that bad. But I started thinking about what other, maybe I need to go back into the we have the mediation in the applications, but I think I've got everything turned off besides AdMob because none of the other mediation networks were working. However, if you do have an ad that's an app that gets an ad suspended, then those mediation networks, you're going to be really glad you put those mediation networks in there. Even if it's not as much as AdMob, all that money will be funneled into one of those other ones. And for me, it's AppLovin or Facebook Audience Network. And in fact, just this morning I woke up to the Google AdMob email. We suspended serving ads in your application, and I looked at it now. I had 2 of them last week, and I was like, oh my God, what is it? Which app is it? And it was like one that hasn't even been, like, it's been unpublished for, I think it was rejected by AdMob. No, it was rejected by Google Play like 2 years ago, but now I'm getting the AdMob email, which was like, oh, okay, that's fine. So I know I'm just rambling on. Eric's just rambling on again. If I start rambling, just, slap me. Just say something in the comments. Making English Fun says, AdSense is disabled. I use my Wix website and it doesn't have enough text, so they give me content errors. So it also, you just disables for YouTube. Now it's 4,000 minutes and 1,000 subs. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I've never used Wix. I didn't even know they could disable anything. Mega Man says, do you get clean stack traces in Crashlytics with Ionic apps? I don't. No, one of the big problems I have with Ionic apps or Cordova apps in general is that I don't get anything that comes through Crashlytics, or even the what was a predecessor one called, which even the Google Play console, the crash reporting, but Crashlytics, whatever. And I don't believe it does unless something has changed in later versions of Ionic, because a lot of my apps are still Ionic v1 or early v2 applications, but one of the big issues I have with those applications is the crashes that happen silently. Something that happens in the web view that doesn't get reported back through the stack trace, because the app is still running perfectly fine. It loads up the web view, it's running the web view, and everything's good. Now, I could be wrong about that if somebody says, oh, you need to use this plugin or you need to do something else to get that to work, but I've never been able to get that to work with Ionic. In fact, a lot of times, so when we find a bug, and it's embarrassing when you have to ask for somebody's login credentials and then plug in with the USB and open up the Chrome Developer Tools or the console, or watch the watch Logcat and watch everything go through, so you can find out what those issues are. Well, no, Logcat doesn't even have it because it's in the web view. Now, I will get it if it crashes the application. So we have had that where the application just crashes, and we do get that back. But usually it's just a memory issue on iOS. If that helps. Carol VDW, hey Eric, just passing by. Hey, glad you stopped by. Can't stay for long. Oh, cool. I'm glad you made it. UD, hey UD, how's it going? Took your advice about HubSpot the other week, and it's amazing. HubSpot is really cool. Now this is something we had the paid version of HubSpot, which cost 300. We were paying £380 a month for it. It has all the automation. So somebody fills in a form on our website, an email goes off, a task gets triggered. We have all this other stuff that automation can help, which is really, really cool. They gave us a demo, but because of the financial situation over the last month, I have gone back to the free tier, and the free tier is still very, very good. I started looking at it thinking, for all that money we're paying, we're not getting all that much extra for the paid versions. But yeah, HubSpot is really good. And so what you should do, UD, is have your HubSpot and just do the pipeline. So I would show you my pipeline, except it's got all the names on it and everything. So, but yeah, you set up all your processes, so you're just dragging things from one stage to the next, and yeah, I think it's a really an excellent tool. Hawk says, are you worried about your biz and the thought about having to go back to corporate? Yeah, Hawk, this is so I did a video last month where I talked about coming back from failure, and I started to think one of the issues I have with the slowness of everything right now was not so much that there wasn't enough money coming in, it's just too much going out. So it's scaling back. I'm not worried about having to go back to corporate, because I know how much app revenue comes in, and I know how much I need to make in order to get past it. So so there's that. So one of the things I'm trying to decide this week is, so I'm going to be moving to a smaller office. I'm either going to be moving to a smaller one-person office, which costs a certain amount. I'm going to be moving to a shared office with other small companies, one-person companies. And the downside, the shared office kind of sounds like it'd be kind of fun, really, like being around other people all day. Just, good morning, how's it going? Hey, good evening. Oh, tough weekend, huh? Or whatever, like people do, like normal people do. But then the videos would be difficult, like doing the live stream. I don't know where I would do the live stream, so I'm thinking about just doing that. And I still do. To be honest with you, I do have client work coming in, but it's my client work, and it's slow. It's just that I'm just scraping by, so I'm not worried about that, Hawk, not yet. I mean, I didn't, if things go really bad in the economy, then even going out and finding another job would be difficult. But no, I don't want to go back to corporate. I don't, right? I'm going to say this on the video, right? So they'll bring it up in an interview. You said in a video you didn't want to be in corporate, but no, I'm not worried about that. Let's see. Suji says, what are your latest apps? So my latest apps, most of them are client applications. I think I said this a few weeks ago, that I've been so focused on client applications, which I can't really talk about, that I haven't released anything new of our own except for updates. So it's like just updating things here and there. Christopher says, hey Eric, how long did you wait to monetize Ear Agent? I monetize it right away. I'm getting 1-star reviews for my app because I charged for the full version. People say there aren't enough features to pay. Okay, yeah, no, for the in-app purchases, I did. So my first monetization was I had the free version of the paid version, and the paid version was just remove ads. So it was ad free. It didn't really have anything new in it, and it was after we released it. Then it was like 6 months later where we actually put the other features in and started thinking, what else can we add? What else can we add to it that would add value to it? And we didn't just do. So we had the free version and the paid version. I don't think we even had in-app purchases then. No, we didn't. I think we just had free version and paid version. You either have ads or no ads. But the ads were like, or the paid version was like £1 or 99p. And when we added the other features in, then it started to really take off a bit, and then it added more value to the paid version. So some people just want to buy the paid version. They don't want to do the in-app purchases. They don't want to do all that kind of stuff. And especially on the iOS side, I've noticed that if you have a paid version without ads, without in-app purchases, that sometimes you have schools and stuff that will buy in bulk, and it's easier for them to do that than have to go through and do all the in-app purchase thing. Right? You think about, and I've had other app developers, more seasoned app developers, who are not app developers anymore, but they told me at the time, no, nobody does paid versions of apps. Just do in-app purchases, free with in-app purchases. The only way to go from here on out. Having said that, I've spoken to a lot of people that only have a paid version, and they're able to do pretty well, right? So it's just how well you do it. Live for Tech says hello. Hey, Live for Tech, how's it going? Making English Fun says my apps are 12 to 2 months old. I started using AdMob in December, and income has increased about £1 a day over each of 28-day cycles. Each month, about 15% increase. Did you see this at the start? I saw it based on the amount of installs. So it wasn't so much the RPM as increasing. It was more the number of impressions increasing. So that was I don't think it was the RPM. The RPM has stayed pretty consistent. I mean, I look at the RPM, but I'm more concerned with the impressions. Let's see. Rodrigo says shared office space is good to make contacts and get some new client work. Yeah, I was thinking that too. I told him this week I would make a decision, and I haven't made a decision yet. So here's what I'm thinking about. If I just go to like a solo office again, like I've had for the last 3-4 years, right? It's easier to do videos. It's easier to just. I could take a nap. I could take a nap in the afternoon, and nobody knows, right? That kind of stuff. I could work on whatever I want to work on. And the truth is, but being in a shared office might not be so bad. It would just be the videos that might suffer. Like every video might be outside or done on the weekends or done after hours, just in order to get them done. And I've got so much equipment. Because I started thinking about it. I've already said I wanted the shared office, and then I thought I've got all these devices. Like I'm not like a real estate agent or I've got like loads of devices and technology all over the place, and it's gonna be difficult to just put those all on a single desk. But I'm thinking about it. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, Rodrigo says I could get clean stack traces. Not sure what you mean by clean, but I do. Yeah, I mean, for me, if an Ionic app breaks, a lot of times it's a JavaScript error, and I don't know if the JavaScript errors bubble up to the stack traces. I assume that's what you mean. Fly High says, "Hey Eric, how are you?" Hey Fly High, I just published my first app on the Play Store. You inspired me to do this. Cool, glad. Do you want to? Should we have a look at it? Let me know if you guys want to have a look at anything today. Let's see. Carol VDW says, in your projects and more specifically in your code, when you're making a small project, which you might or might not expand on later, how much do you take into account scalability versus quick coding? For me, I know in the past that focusing too much on scalability early on is like a really good way to procrastinate. Because I've done it. I start doing something. I say, no, if somebody wants to do this later, then I'll do it, and I'll start building the scalability into it early on. But the reality is, I think you're probably better off doing quick coding. You think about, do you remember when Twitter came out, like 2006 or 2008? It had a problem with scaling. It was done in Ruby on Rails and had trouble with scale. And they rewrote it. I mean, it was just, they had the budget to do it. They proved the concept and they had the budget to do it. So there's only so much you could do. However, having read, if you read, there was a book called, I think it was What Would Facebook Do by Jeff Jarvis. If that's right. It was ages ago I read it. But it was, they talked about how Mark Zuckerberg, when he started Facebook, the genius of it was that he did it in a way that was scalable, so they didn't have to rewrite the whole thing. But I don't think so much about scalability so much in the beginning. However, if you do something like Firebase would be easy to scale, but it would also be expensive to scale, depending on how you code it. And I mean, yeah, I mean, you should do, there's certain things just like you would do out of the box. Like if you do scalability, you wouldn't, yeah, I mean, there's certain things that you would do just like as a general good practices that should make it scalable. So if you were going to have something when I think about scalable, I think about load balancing, and I think about things going into a domain. So like I would like never connect to an IP address, right? As easy as it might sound. Like I have a server, I have an IP address. There's no reason to go for a domain because, you know, I have to purchase a domain. But if you do go for a domain and you need to scale up and you need to add load balancing or you need to switch servers, that's going to make it, having that domain as the middleman to be able to just say change it on the DNS record and have it go to wherever it is, that's going to make it much easier going forward, I think. So so that's one thing. That's one thing that I do. So I have the domain, and then I will set up like I'll just like the overpass.co.uk. I have several domains. I got overpass.co.uk. I got overpassapps.com, which I'm not really using. I got overpass.co, which I'm not really using, but I use them a lot in development applications. So they're pointed to a bunch of EC2 AWS servers or Heroku servers with subdomains, right? And it says what I use for development. Let's see. Sony A says, my greatest headache is marketing. How does one get their app known? So that's probably one of the biggest problems that I think a lot of us do. It's not so much the marketing, it's just the discoverability, because there's so much going into it. And if you have a marketing budget, that's easy, but a lot of times you don't, especially if you're not making any money from it. So you got to think, how can you get this in front of people? In the past, I've done a lot of the backlinking stuff. I've done Facebook ads, which cost more than they brought in, so it wasn't even worth doing. I've done AdMob ads where I could pay like a penny per impression, or penny per click, or penny per click. Like I would like the lowest bid possible, and then there's no impressions, and then I would increase it to like 2 cents and then 3 cents, and then until I start getting impressions through. However, AdMob is, you know, like I wasn't tracking it all the way through. I wasn't doing I wasn't paying per impression. In fact, I was really just doing it like the cheapest option available. I wasn't doing the where you track it. I wasn't tracking it all the way through. I was just doing that because it was just the cheapest way to get it in front of people. Of course, there's lots of people out there who are fake clicking, so you know that's an issue too. But I would go for like the lowest thing, because there's so much AdMob real estate out there with so many developers that you're going to get it in front of some people, right? So there's that. So you get the clicks through, and then but you have to compare it with are they actually resulting in downloads? And for me, I wasn't, like I said, I didn't set up any tracking codes, and part of it was because I was using Corona for some of them. I could have done it for the native ones, but I don't think I really bothered. But I would just look at the numbers and think, if try to correlate it, which is which is, as a marketer, probably isn't like the best way to do it. You should track everything, but that's kind of how I did it. But that was just like the cheapest option, Sony. So let's see. Cord Funk says, "Yo Eric, yo Cord Funk, do you have an accountant for your business?" Yeah, I've had an accountant. I've had an accountant since my business started. My accountant helped me register the business. So I've had the same accountant since 2004, and they were just like, they're not like, they're okay, right? They're like, I pay the same amount to them every month. They do my VAT, they do my taxes, they do everything. So, but they're not like, I would, I always wanted to have an accountant like a mafia accountant, like when you go to them and they go, all right, we're gonna move this money over here, and then we're gonna move it over here. I don't get any of that. I just like, here's my receipts. I go, okay, we'll do your VAT. Here's my receipts, and they don't give me any advice or anything like that. They're just like, just do that. But I think about doing it myself, and I just think, the one time I did the taxes on my own, I did. So I probably told this story before. One year, I thought I'd do my own personal taxes, because I think in the UK you have to be making a certain amount of money before you have to do a tax return, unlike in the States where everybody has to do one. I have to do both. So I was doing my tax return, and I was doing it, and I realized, and I came to the conclusion that I owed the government like £12,000 or something, right? That was ridiculous. Like I didn't have that kind of money, right? I was like, and then I did it again. I thought, okay, I owe them $8,000, and then I did it another time, and I owed them $9,000. And finally, I contacted my accountant and said, "Can you do my personal too?" And they said, "Well, that's part of our service," which is like, right. So I sent them my personal accounts and everything, and they said like the government owed me like £800 or something. right? It was just like I couldn't believe I had gotten it so wrong. So from now on, look, I am not a financial guy. I'll just send everything to the accountant. And and also I think if anything goes wrong, I don't want to be in a situation where I've broken the law and don't even realize it. I just let them do whatever they need to do. Rifat, hey, how's it going? I got a WeWork membership. Oh, it could be okay. 500 GBP a desk in King's Cross. Cool. Now, I was looking, like before I took the office that I did, I was looking at Rebus. Is it Rebus? Yeah, the ones that are like at service stations. I thought that would be kind of cool. I thought just having some place to go. I kind of like the idea of like just like go to wherever you feel like going, a hot desk. But then I really like having a place where I could just leave my stuff and it's there the next day. I never liked when I work on contracts where it's hot desking, where I pack up everything in my bag, and lug it up onto my shoulder, and just going to and from work. I hated that. So I like this. I like setting up everything the way that I have it, and it's almost like this home away from home, this place I could come and just get creative, have everything nearby. I could just do whatever I happen to be into. Like there's I showed you guys in a video before my meditation stool in the corner, which I use, from time to time. I'm getting back into that again, but that's sort of something that's in the corner. I've got some dumbbells in the corner, which is like, I'm sure that when the cleaner comes in, is like, oh, whatever, right? But when there's other people in the office, then it gets a bit more professional. But like when I'm on my own for a long time, it gets a bit more like, But I really like that. But I have thought about just having the versatile office choices. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool too. We don't have anything nearby. The nice thing about this office is it's like 1.5 miles or 2 miles from the house, right? And so I get up in the morning, get in the car, drive down here, get out of the car, walk up here. I'm still like all tired, my hair's all messy, and I just sit down at the desk, and it's almost like getting up to go to the bathroom. Just get up, get in the car, drive, go. Let's see. Fiction Studios. Oh, my AdSense account was disapproved. Oh, disapproved. I had appealed 2 times, but they said account termination is confirmed. I didn't do anything illegal activity. So can you please tell other best CPC ad network for Android? I think you should look at, I still like AppLovin. AppLovin is the one that I like just because it's the one that I've used. I haven't heard a lot of anything new coming in, but there was, there's one company that's been contacting me lately talking about, it's like, it's another mediation service that I never heard of before, but I was considering it because they said they could do better deals for all the other different ad networks. And there are companies out there will take a commission to do that. But there's other, like MobFox. If you set up MobFox, you set up other ad networks too. And the nice thing about having a mediation network, Fiction Studios, is that you could switch one off and go to another one. AdMob, we talk about, whenever I get that, like this morning when I get the email from AdMob, I was like, no! Oh, it's just that app. It's that app that's not even published. Right, so I was like, no, and then I think, but it's not the only game in town. Unlike Google Play, which, because you can still have it on Google Play and have other ad networks on there. But I would say, I've had people tell me that Facebook Audience Network is the best one of all of them, but I didn't really find that, not very much. And maybe it's because I was going through a mediation network, but I didn't find that. However, I still use it because I still think it does. And also, Facebook Audience Network, I don't think it's global. That was another reason with AdMob, is because we got users all over the world, and I don't want some of them to have no ad inventory because, there's one ad network that kept contacting me, and they were really big in Spain and the UK and a few other places. I think it was called Oguri. They were available in a few countries, but I was I wanted China, I wanted the U.S., especially the U.S. I want Brazil, I want Thailand, I want everywhere, which AdMob does, and and they have the inventory for it. But even though the CPMs are really low in those places. Let's see. Rifat says, oh, wait, sorry, I lost my place. Eric, did you finish Crossing the Chasm, and how could you implement it in Overpass? So I've read the... thanks for reminding me. I need to get into it. When I think of Crossing the Chasm, it seems like a really good book, and it's something I think about a lot because we think about, when I read Crossing the Chasm, the first thing that went through my mind was, how do we make the app development thing easier? How do we make it where everybody else is talking about the technology and seems really technical, intimidating? How can we make it less intimidating? And like systematically. So right now, when we have clients that come in, like this week we had a few people come in, and it's one thing I really like meeting with clients. I like sitting down with them and discussing ideas, and they're discussing what they want, and I'm thinking everything in my mind is technical. Like, how would this work in terms of architecturally? Like I'm building the app in my head, and they'll say something else like, okay, no, we won't use that. No, we can't use that. We have to use this or whatever. And then thinking through the whole process, almost like I've got the flow chart building up in my head as they're discussing it. So, you know, the user, they should be able to do this, this, and this. And I'm thinking, okay, we could use Heroku, push notifications for that, whatever, just because of all that. And that's fun. I really enjoy doing that. But I would like to do that in a more systematic way where we can make it seem like it's less like it's something that, what I don't want is for clients to come in and feel the way I do when I go into a mechanic. When I go into a mechanic, I feel like the dumbest person in the world. I feel like, you know, I know other people go into mechanics, so I've seen them, like other people go up to and they're just very condescending, like, I'm an important businessman, and you're the guy who's going to do this for me because I'm going to give you money. But I always feel like I should know how to do it myself. Like, I feel like, look, the car's making noise. I don't really know what to do. I can just do it. And they say, what size engine do you have? And I go, I don't know the answer to that. Should I know the answer to that? So there's, you know, I don't want people to feel it. So I feel intimidated when I go talk to a mechanic, or if I talk to a builder, or anybody who has a more macho job than mine, which is, but I feel intimidated, and I don't want our clients to feel intimidated when they're talking Crossing the Chasm. How can we make the service that we provide available to the masses without being an intimidating process that they don't want to get on the phone and call up? And that's the big thing that I took from that. But I need to read the rest of the book. I was talking to somebody about it, and they were saying that they were trying to read it and they were finding trouble finishing it real fast. So like it was really dry, but I didn't find that. I found it to be pretty good. Glenn Ferris says, what have you done about the requirement license to sell games in China? Have you just removed China from your distribution list? I haven't. So I know. So when it came to the one on the iOS, so iOS started saying that you need to do this documentation. I read through the documentation, which was in Chinese. I Google Translate read it. I mean, I could read some of it, but like some of it I couldn't. So I read it through Google Translate, and like most things, it didn't make any sense. And then I thought I should hire somebody to do that. And in the end, I just kept doing that. So I know on iOS we still get downloads from China, and we're translated into those languages. But I don't notice anything. But on the iOS side, or sorry, on the Android side, I haven't seen that at all. So we're still using, like I said, I'm focusing mostly on Google Play at the moment. Well, we have done other Chinese app stores, but I don't even check those anymore. So we use, God, what's the name of it? I think it's HUAP. We use China Mobile, and I don't even check those stats anymore. But you know, I haven't done anything on that. Let me just have a quick look here, Glenn, because now that you're asking about it, I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure we get downloads in China. Now, it's not necessarily on the games, but let me just go through here. I'm going to show you my screen here in a minute. Let me just bring up the stats. And every time I show you my iOS, it's like it's not as good as it used to be. Most of the apps have been removed by me because of the GDPR stuff. Okay, and go to, sorry, sales and trends. So screen share. So that's just loading up now. To give you an idea. So how do I, let me see if I can remember how to do this. Keep changing it. Based on country. Asia Pacific. China mainland, that's what we want. So you can see here, let's see, that's right, China mainland. Cool. So you can see these are the Chinese downloads. So this one here is a technically a game. It's under the game category. This one is our main one, but we don't have a lot of others. So you can see that we're getting these downloads in China, and a few in-app purchases too. So we're not. It's not too bad. Hang on, let me just make sure that filtered. Yeah, territory mainland China, not Fiji. Remove Fiji. Maybe, let's see. So yeah, we are getting a few in there, Glenn. So, and that's not necessarily a game. So I haven't done anything for that. But for the iOS side, we're still getting through. I'm not sure if that's what you mean if you're checking about the iOS side, but I haven't done anything, Glenn, to answer your question. Let's see. Oh, I'm way behind on the answer. Sorry, you guys. I know I ramble on a bit. Apologize about that. Let's see. Fly High says, Eric, my app is up for like 6 hours now. I know that my friends downloaded it, but the statistics still says it has 0 downloads. When does the statistics start to work? It's like once a day, right? For me, like every day I would check the statistics, especially when it first started. When my app was first released on Google Play, I would check it every single hour, and it would update once a day. And then I realized it was updating at 8 a.m. every day over here. And then it was noon, and then it was like, so it like jumped around, but it was like once a day that it would update. It's the most infuriating thing ever. If you have if you put Firebase Analytics in it, at least you get a better idea, so you see the stream view that comes through. But now I know what you mean, Fly High. It's like once a day. John Reed says, Flutter, are you finding it easy to learn? My experience is that it is followed, but things like state, stateless, and block are overcomplicated. I'm the same way, John. Like it's these. Like, is that a stateless widget or is that a stateful widget, and what's the difference? And I think I kind of got it. So finally, and I wish they would explain things in terms of like ionic. So like for me, it would be the stateful one would be like if I was using, say, Knockout.js or Angular, then it would automatically update. But if it was stateless, then it would be just like a normal HTML page. That's the way that I got it in my head. And block, I haven't even looked at block yet. So I was like, I spent all day Saturday morning reading of the documentation, and then I was like really keen to get started. I was like, that's it, I'm just gonna do this. I spent all day. I spent a lot of Sunday. No, I didn't spend Sunday, but I spent all day Monday working on a Flutter application, and then I get to the point where just trying to go by memory from what I've read, where I think everything should go fine. Okay, so I've got a container, then no, I got center, then a container. No center. I've got a container. I got a row, column, column, column. It's not loading because of some reason, and then I'm like, so then I'm going through the stack traces and doing that. But I think that part, I found that difficult too, the stateful and the stateless widget, and that's kind of, in my mind, that's what it is. But like I said in the video the other day, I'm still in the early stages, so like it's like thinking, how does that work? And part of me, the reason it's taking so long is because part of me is like this push and pull in my head, thinking maybe you shouldn't be doing the development anymore. Maybe your developer should be doing this, and the other part of me thinking, but it looks kind of cool, and how will I know if they're doing it right if I don't know how to do it? And even if I don't do the whole thing myself, maybe I should at least know how it works. So that's kind of where I go. And plus, I hate the idea of being I hate not knowing how something works technically. I just, I hate that. So, but yeah, John, that's kind of where I did. So, but yeah, block, I don't know how to use block. Let's see. Raphael says, people in Dublin, because of high rent and cost, start to build their offices into house back in the back garden. Oh, really? So I thought about that too. Build it, like just have one in the garden. But no, I like just, it's nice to have someplace to go. And it's kind of nice. The previous office I had in another office building was above a shop. There was a guy who played like the bagpipes outside. It was just like, but in the summertime it's kind of nice, but it was nice coming out here because it's more technical. Like it's cleaner. There's a cleaner that comes in every day. It's it's just a really nice environment. There's a foosball table in the break room, whatever. Sometimes I do, and I can do videos from all over. It's just a nice quiet. And on weekends, it's dead quiet. There's nobody like in the whole area, so it's kind of cool. Let's see. Emir Khan Eric Cool says, would you recommend using ad monetization tool like Appledeal? I've used Appledeal before, but I found it, I didn't like it. I just didn't like, and I can't really say whether it worked or didn't work because it was just something that I did the whole thing where I set it up and I put the Google Chrome extension, which when I ran it, it went through AdMob and it started adding all those stuff, opening all those pages, needed access to my AdMob account. I didn't like it doing all that kind of stuff. And then when I delivered it, I didn't even get that much benefit out of it. But I don't know. When it comes to Appledeal, I mean, using a monetization network, yeah, definitely. Appledeal, I'm not so sure. But that's just me. So, I mean, this is one of those questions where I fully expect somebody to say, Eric, you're wrong. Appledeal is the best. I've made so much money with it. But I've never met that person, right? So it's just like, and I started doing it, and part of me thinks I probably should have kept doing it for like a month just so I could see whether or not it worked or not worked so I could report it to you guys. But after like a couple days, I thought, screw this, I'm going back. I'm not making any money from this. Discovery Center, okay. Rodrigo says, I think we are in the quantity over quality times. Quick and dirty is better than polished in small quantities. I think that's, in some ways, there is the getting something out there and see if it works is a big thing. We had should I talk about this? Yeah, we have a client that hasn't gone live but wants to rewrite an app from scratch, and part of me is like, you need to get this live to see how it works, right? I kind of, where they've got 80% of the way through and then they want to rewrite it, and I'm thinking, it's like, it's good for me as a developer, like it's better, but at the same time I'm like, you need to get this thing live, you need to get it on the market to see how it does, because you could always change it, right? But part of, like, I read this book by a book about Walt Disney, a biography on Walt Disney, where it talked about how when they did Snow White, which was like the biggest cartoon movie of its time, like the first full-length animated feature, and where they were like halfway through all the drawing and they came up with a new way of doing the animation, which was painting on glass, and he had them scrap everything and go back to the drawing board just to start over again, because he was that kind of a perfectionist. And part of me admires that, but I'm also the fact that you need to get something live, you need to get something out there, because you don't really know, you don't have all the details yet until you actually have people using the applications. Discovery Center says, app for malnutrition, but why are we having everything we don't want to do? An app for malnutrition? Did I miss something here? Simo Play says, hi Eric, I have a question about the app business model. In your opinion, in what cases is in-app purchases better than just having a paid app? So Simo Plays, I've always been of the opinion that you need to have a free version and a paid version, and the free version should allow people to upgrade to the paid version, especially if it's a game, because you have them, they have scores, they have preferences, they have whatever that they set up, and you don't want them to have to redo it again if they go to the paid version. Now, I've spoken to a few people lately who've had paid applications which are doing really well, and they don't have a free application, and somebody was asking me, do you think I should have a free version because I'm making money off the paid version? And I said, no. If you're making enough off the paid version, having a free version might actually diffuse from that main thing. I mean, they have to pay in order to use it, which is kind of how every other market works. I think, like, early on what we did was, and because in-app purchases were kind of difficult, so we would say buy the full version, and when you click on buy the full version, rather than take you to the in-app purchase pop-up, it would just take you to back to the Play Store page of the full version, so they could just go there straight there and buy it, which was much easier to code. But then, like, they have, what we would have is we'd have them say, okay, I paid for the full version, it was working, but now all of a sudden all the features have disappeared. And really what it was is they didn't delete the old version, and it was kind of like that. We had those kind of support issues, right? So if they were able to make the in-app purchases, that would be better. Now the problem with that is if they reinstall it or go to a new phone, then they're asking, how do I restore the purchases? Or basically they're saying, I got a new phone, now everything disappeared, this sucks, right? And you're like, well, there's a restore button, you just go click restore, and then or just you know, at first we were just doing, just buy it again and you won't be charged. Google Play will not charge you. But Apple made us do a restore button, so we started doing restore buttons for Google Play too, which, you know, makes sense. Although aesthetically, I didn't like having to have a restore button because it complicated the interface. So I'm good at going off on a tangent here. Let's see. But yeah, Simple Plays. Let me know if I didn't answer that well enough. Let's see. Techno Joe says, I believe Facebook created their own optimized version of PHP to rewrite it. Oh, really? Rewrite their own virtual machine once it started to become viral. I didn't know that. Scroll down to look at my question. Okay, Discovery Center. Well, let's see. Discovery Center asked. Let me go back to it. Oh, can't find it. I'll find it at Discovery Center. John Reed says, okay, why don't you like block? Rodrigo says, talking about the fake clicking, Google has done some great work about that. There's a huge article in Android Security about ad click fraud. I will send it to you a podcast episode. Cool, that sounds good. Prasenjit Gope says, hi, hey, how's it going? Biswajit, hey, how's it going? He says, hi, it's been over a month since I released my first game. It's updated. I'll update it soon. Thanks for the motivation and inspiration. My game is called Dark Space Legends. Biswajit, do you want us to have a look at it? I won't show it on the screen unless you want me to. It's in the Play Store. Well, I assume you want us to have a look at it, but let me know. Let's see. American says, okay, so Fizz007 said, what's up, Eric? What's up, everybody? Hey, how's it going? I joined a little bit late today. That's all right. What time is it? Oh, it's getting late. Let's see. Stephen Dew says, hey, Eric, a couple of weeks ago, I asked about finding freelance developers in the UK. I took your advice and found some amazing guys starting out on Upwork. Cool. As of yesterday, I have my first app in the Apple Store, and I made my first 12p in AdMob revenue. Yeah, right on. Thanks for the great videos and inspiration. That's great, Steven. I'm really glad about that. Cool. Yeah, keep those Upwork guys on your Rolodex. I've always been of the opinion that I'll get somebody full-time, because then if I ever need them again, they can. But then we have to take on client work, otherwise can't afford to keep them on. Lately, I'm starting to think it probably makes really good sense to have those people on your Rolodex so you can go back to them if you need to for stuff. So like there was one designer I used early on for a few games, and he was really, really good. I mean, he wasn't a game designer, but he was a cartoon designer, and he would do like the onboarding cartoon images on a couple of apps. And I went to him for a few things. It was kind of nice to know that he was there. Yeah, if you have that good relationship with him, that's great. Fizz007 says, how's business going, Eric? It seems like you are very concerned business-wise these days. I am. I'm stressed. I'm like, yeah, I'm so stressed out. No, things are getting better. I think I keep saying, this week I feel like I got my mojo back, Fizz007. I feel like I'm like, all right, that's it. Okay, no more moping around. Jesse says, what do you think about Apple Arcade? Also, what do you think about the Snapchat's game platform? I was reading about that today. They're going to release like 8 games on Snapchat, aren't they? I haven't used Snapchat in a while. The reason I used to use Snapchat every day, and it was really cool. But and maybe it's just me. Like whenever you move on to something else, you think everyone else has too. But I haven't been using Snapchat lately, so it's like too little, too late. Even the Facebook Messenger games I don't really use. I'm not really much of a gamer myself. Apple Arcade, is that like the Google Stadia? I feel like I've missed like a news story there. The Stroke blog says, hi, my first app was removed from the Play Store for privacy policy. Something about data collection. PP with audio playback buttons. No data is collected. I have AdMob banner. Could this be the issue? Yeah, if it's just removed, you just need to have a privacy policy in place. You need to have a privacy policy, and yeah, that should be it. I did a video about this. I can't remember what I did. I think it was just I went through and I put privacy policies on every application, right? I just have a standard generic one that I paid for, but I didn't need to, because there's free privacy policy generators out there. Put it on a website or put it on online somewhere, and then just link to that. So, but you should be able to re-release it. If it's not suspended, then they know that you just need to update that. So that's good. Riffat says, ever thought about moving to London? More business opportunities? No, I haven't. I mean, my plan is to move. My plan is to move back to the States in a few years' time. So I like going to London. But moving to London, I haven't really thought about. I mean, it would just be, yeah. But it would be cool to live in London. I would. Yeah, actually, I haven't thought about it. Maybe I might think about that. Abalash says, hey, it's been 2 months since I started Android development, and I've been trying to develop simple apps for myself, but I'm not able to finish my app completely. Can you please suggest me any advice? Abalash, sounds like you suffer the same thing I do, which is you get to that 60, 70, 80% of the way through, and you lose focus, and you start nitpicking on things, and you just never get going live. I think you need, that's the hard bit, is that final push, because in the beginning it's fun, right? It's fun to design things like, hey, check this out, I got this login form, I got this, it's feeding from the server, it's doing, like, there's so much of development that's fun, and that's why we do it. And there's a lot of it, it's just boring. It's just like, okay, I got to make sure that an error is handled here, or I got to make sure I finish this, or like I did the game, but I got to have the high score screen. So that's kind of stuff. A lot of times, like when I finish something, like just being paid for it, like somebody's chasing me to finish something, causes me to finish. If I'm working my own stuff, it's like hard to get myself to finish it. And it's, but you just have to do that. But it's the same thing. You're probably facing, was it Stephen Pressfield in The War of Art, which I might have over here, I'm not sure, talks about the resistance, that thing, that little voice that comes in and says, it's that prevents you from doing anything creative, or you start doing something creative and you're making huge strides, and then all of a sudden your momentum slows down. Your momentum slows, and that's like the worst thing that can happen to you. And for me, like when I am coding something, I don't like to get up at all from my desk, because I know if I lose the momentum, then it'll be difficult to get back into it, right? And that could be like, I don't get up to go to the bathroom, I don't go to lunch, or, I'm like trying to, not go home if I can, or trying to get back in. And like a nice thing, so for me, like a Saturday is really good for that kind of stuff, because the phone's not going to ring. There's going to be no other thing. Nobody knows that I'm working, so there's not going to be any interruptions. But you got to get that momentum back. And sometimes it's just forcing yourself to start. I mean, if you read books by writers, they talk about this too. Just sit down and write a paragraph. Sit down and write a paragraph, and that's your goal, is to write a paragraph. Sit down and write a function. Write a function, and once you start doing that, you start to get that momentum back. You start to get into that flow. You start to do, you're just, the hard bit is, you know how hard it is sometimes just to open up the code editor, just to open up the window, or you open up the code editor, you're looking at it, you're like, oh, does it? Or there's like this certain thing that gets in the way, like, oh, I have to load this on a device, which means I have to find the USB cable, which I have to load it on the device, and I don't know where I put my USB cable, so I put it onto the phone, or the phone's out of battery, so I'm going to charge the phone first because I left it on, and there's certain things like that that just stop you. But once you get started and get in there, get that momentum, Abalash, I think you'll be fine. It's like, and I think it's the same with any creative endeavor. Josh says, hi, do you use Facebook Audience Network and AdMob in a Flutter app? I have never done it yet. In terms of the Flutter app, we haven't done our developers are doing a Flutter app, but it doesn't have advertising in it. Stateful widgets have state. Thank you, Cordfog. Louis Arellano says, I am beginning my journey to learn Android app development. Cool. Would you recommend to learn Android development using Java, or should I go with Kotlin? Also, how long does it take to see a profit? So yeah, we get this question a lot. I think go with the one that's most comfortable to you. If your goal is just to produce an Android application, go with the one that you're most comfortable with, because Java's been around for a long time. If you're going to look for a job, if your goal is to look for a job, which kind of should be in the back of your mind, like if your apps don't take off, these should be employable. Like you go to an employer, say, I'm an Android developer, I've released these apps on the Play Store. You can look at my portfolio, and you could just start your professional life that way if you wanted to. And then you should look at the job market. Go on JobServe or one of the other job markets Job serve is the one I always use when I was using when I was looking for jobs. There might be other ones, Monster or Indeed or whatever. Those are UK ones. All right, you look at those and see which has a more demand, and that can make a decision for you. Kotlin is newer, obviously, but Java is more, like, I think you would have more opportunities to do a lot more. You could do Java server pages. You could work on desktop applications. You could do a lot of stuff with Java that you couldn't do with, well, you probably could do it with Kotlin, actually. But, and if you get into Kotlin, there might be fewer developers. You might have more of a market advantage, like you could charge more because there's less demand, or less supply rather. So yeah, I mean, this is a question we get a lot, and yeah, Louis, I think go with the one that you have a look at both of them. Have a look at both. Kotlin is newer, but Java, I would imagine Java would still have a lot more documentation. Rodrigo says, I also didn't like all the random stuff Appledeal did. Just the other day, they removed all the ad units I removed all the ad units they created. Yeah, I didn't like that either. That was one thing. They just went through and created a whole bunch of ad units that I didn't use, and it was just like, it cluttered up my AdMob interface. CH Development, hi Eric, hi all. Did the live stream start change? It seems like I'm late. Yeah, CH Development, sorry about that. It's we did it was daylight savings time. We set the clocks forward last week. Yeah, last Saturday night we set them forward. So if you were like, there's this strange, like my family is in the States, so when my dad phones me once a week, and there's like a 3 or 4 week period where daylight savings time happens at the beginning of March in the States, and it happens at the end of March here. So there's like this 3 or 4 week period where the time differences change, and we're like 4 hours apart instead of 5 hours apart. And same with the Philippines, they don't change time. So I know it's 8 hours. It's 8 hours usually, but I think we're 7 hours apart now. Yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, sorry about that. That's probably the reason why. But we're not changing. It's still 5 p.m. UK time. I say UK time rather than GMT because it's just the time that's most convenient for me. So let's see. Rodrigo, Snapchat is dead. I also don't use it. Yeah, the only reason I use Snapchat because sometimes people will contact me because they'll see an old video where I had the Snapchat logo on it, and they'll contact me, ask me a question or something, and I might respond, but not necessarily. Let's see. Yeah, clocks change for the UK. Thank you for the answer. The Stroke blog. BizYG says, please give me some feedback on my my game Darks. Okay, thanks BizYG. Dark Space Legends. Okay, so we're gonna look at this application here for BizYG Chowdhury. Let's see, play.google.com. All right, please be gentle on him. Dark Space Legends. Let's share my screen. Okay, Dark Space Legends. Oh, here we go. Cool, right there. It's got your name on it. A cool icon. Let's see. Oh, why does it say unreleased? Is that okay? Let's see. Dark Space Legends. You got the screenshots. Space shooter. So I would. Dark Space Legends is a retro space shooter where you are Dark Space Legends is the retro space shooter you are looking for, with futuristic design and attractive environments. It will surely keep you entertained with its stunning gameplay, instant power-ups, unlocking, and fiercer enemies. It was released on the 22nd of February, so we could probably have a look at it on App Annie, I would imagine. Let's see, each. Let's see. Oh, what did I do? Okay. Dark Legends Space Shooter. Why does Google Play say unreleased and this one doesn't? Did you recently add? So let me just BizWajit if you're just answering down there. So we've got this. We got the ASO keywords. I would imagine space shooter would be really hard to target. But let's see, your dark space, you're ranked number 5 for in the UK. Let's go to the US. And thorium. Is that so? And Dark Legends. Okay, so yeah, I think if we looked at the, I think it looks cool. I think you really could use a video there. And the fact that it says unreleased, I don't know if that would be something that would cause people to ignore it, but I think we're thinking about how are people finding it. So in terms of downloads, we got 5+ installs, which we have here. You've got so like your first screenshot, like if you're looking at this on a mobile device, that's the one you would see the most of, and you just show the start screen. And I don't think it's a cool logo, it's cool design, but I would think that you should probably have a bit of the gameplay in it, and then also have something with a bit more like copy in it, saying what it does. But a video would be best, especially for a game like that. That's what I think. So I mean, what do the rest of you guys think there? Let's go back to this. Let's get rid of that lower third, shall we? Okay, see. Sony A says, please suggest me the best app and cost-effective way to promote an app. The best and cost-effective way to promote an app. I think the most cost-effective way would be AdMob. Or actually, maybe just doing social media. Like Sony, if and it depends on who you're targeting. Like if your app is like another application, and people who really like let's say they're real big fans of Dark Space Legends, and you want to steal some of Biswajit's users, then you could look at who's talking about that on Twitter, who's talking that on social media. Maybe you could sort of get that in front of a few people just that way, kind of sneaky, get it in there. You could do advertisements if you just but if it's not something specific, like you're just thinking it's a general thing, like people would like it if they use it, then I would go for like a really low. I say AdMob, but it's not actually AdMob. It's AdSense. Oh, AdWords. I was getting confused. You know, basically you want to be showing up in AdMob things, but I think they recently changed it where it's not. You don't actually go into AdMob and set those up. Let's see. Let's see. Josh Marsden says, Eric, I watch a lot of your videos and just want to shout out. Hey, Josh Marsden, how's it going? Thank you for watching a lot of the videos, by the way. I know that sometimes they suck, but trying to get better at them. Trying to get better. Always trying to get better. Let's see. Savita says, sir, tell me, how do I learn complete Android development from basic to a pro developer? Well, I think you should start with Hello World, and then it's difficult. I would say start with some tutorials on. You just need to get something up and running that compiles, and then start going through. You could take a course, like you go on Udemy and get a course. You can get a book. I mean, I've got Java books here, or not Java. I got Android books here, right? But they can be a bit dry. But the nice thing about them is they cover other things. If you just learn on your own, a lot of times you don't learn the things that you don't need because you're not interested in it. But other times you do. So like this, I mean, in the olden days, this Savita, this is called a book. We used to read these, but now you can just get them online, where you can search them and everything. Or better yet, you can find a YouTube video for free to learn how to do this kind of stuff. But they're just and just going through it and starting from beginning to end, and not be so concerned with the specifics. So you just need to get a point where you go through the Hello World. Then you go through whatever, adding a. So for me, it's like Hello World, which is like, the authors in books are so excited about Hello World. Congratulations, you did your first Android app, and you just want to punch them in the face. You're like, that's not an Android app. It doesn't do anything, right? But then you're like, how do I go from page to page? How do I set up different pages? How do I load? For me, it's like, how do I load from an API? How do I load from a database? How do I play sounds? How do I drag and drop? How do I do it on screen? Depending on what it is, right? And then how do I put the menu structure in? And then you start to build on that. A lot of times just going through a simple tutorial on how to do that. And you just got to get to the point where you're comfortable creating those applications. Then you start to build on it. And then, learning a computer language is a lot like learning a human language, in the fact that you can spend your whole time in beginner level and never advance. So you have to advance and get better at it as you go. But but at this stage, you don't really know enough about the code in order to do it. Excuse me just a second, I'm gonna grab another book. Eventually, you start reading stuff like Design Patterns, another book. It's a book. I don't have many computer books anymore. I got a lot on my Kindle. But like Design Patterns, because like you couldn't go from being a beginner to learning design patterns because you don't understand why they're necessary. You don't understand why dependency injection is necessary or why interfaces are necessary. You're just like, I just need to get something up and running, which is what you do. When you're starting out, you don't even know why functions are necessary. You're just like, everything's spaghetti code. It just starts at the top, goes through the bottom, right? You don't understand why you need objects. Why do I need that? Why do I need this? But then as you start to go through it, you start to realizing, you know, the business problems that they solve in terms of scalability and everything like that, if you continue to build on your skills. And for me, it was always working with developers who were better than I am, you know, and just working with other developers, because part of you was like, I want to get better at this. Another part of you was trying to impress those other developers. So you're growing together and just getting better together professionally. But yeah, those I have read those books, but it's been a while. And the Android development book, the beginning Android games, I wouldn't recommend that. I would, but that doesn't use a game framework. It's just going through doing it from scratch using a game loop. And I would use something like Unity or one of the other frameworks that are out there, because then it handles a lot of that stuff for you. Let's see, the Stroke blog. Okay, Louis says, I am confused with the Java costing money trend that is going kind of viral. How does that affect Android developers? Is this a thing where, Java is owned by IBM? So I think the reason Kotlin exists is because Java is not free and it's actually for other people. But I don't know a lot about that, Louis, I'm afraid. I'm sure other people out there do. I haven't really, when it comes to stuff like the legal side of things, I'm not really that concerned with it. I mean, I'm concerned with, am I allowed to use this application? Am I allowed to use this library? If I give this library to a client, are they allowed to use this library? That kind of stuff. But when it comes to the, what the war between the titans, I'm not really concerned with that. Maybe I should be. Savita says, do you come live every day, sir? No, just on Fridays. I might do it more often. It depends, but yeah, no, we don't do it every day, and we don't usually. Well, sometimes we do it for 2 hours, but it depends. Can you take a look at Talent Wars? Sony says. So, Biswajit says it's in beta. Let's see, Talent Wars, and this Sony, is this on Google Play? Talent Wars. Let's see. Screen share. I'm gonna assume it's this one here. Sony. Let's see. Yeah, Oracle. Even testing is necessary. Please review my app, Talent Wars, built on both platforms. Sony, is this one? Is this one it? Let's see. Yes, cool. All right. So, Talent Wars. Vote your favorite acts. Unleash your hidden gifts. A variety of talents. Become a talent warrior. This might be a video. Might be good on this one. Talent Wars. Okay, so let's see. Let's have a look here. Got OnePlus install, Sony. When was it released? Oh, today. So it was just released yesterday. Sorry, rather, it just released yesterday, version 1.0. Okay, cool. So there was not too much we could say. I like the idea that you've done proper screenshots, and you have the proper screenshots here with some text above it. Again, a lot of it's going to come from when you start to get people using it. How are people going to find it? I think Talent Wars, it's difficult to know what it does. Like, I'm not quite sure. I assume that it's like Tinder for talent. Like you're voting between two of them. And I don't even know much about Tinder actually to even know that. But so is that like you're voting for different ones? Is that what it is? So you might want to do that. Like put something. Don't put Tinder in the title because you'll get in trouble for that probably. But just put something that just says Talent Wars, vote for whatever. Like it's difficult to say because we talk about what we like and what works. So we don't know what works yet because we haven't really had much time to see how this does. We have 1+ user. So I think and that's probably because it just came out. Yes, you may have 10, you may have 50, you may have 1 million users, but because it updates once a day, we don't know yet. So that's what I think. And then like the icon, just my personal opinion is I think the icon doesn't look like it doesn't really represent what it is, but then it's difficult to say like, what will work or what won't. I can't think of it like an alternative to it. So, but Sony, hopefully that's helpful. Anybody else have anything they want to talk to Sony about? Sony, any feedback for Sony there? Let's see. Let's go back to. I'm showing you the lower third again. All right, let's go with. Let's see. Josh Marsden read Blue Ocean for the best means of app advertisement. Blue Ocean. I have that one too. This is cool. I don't usually go to my bookshelf, so I got the Blue Ocean Strategy. I have read this book. I thought it was terribly boring, but I get the gist, the Blue Ocean and the Red Oceans and all that kind of stuff. So, we got to think about how do you differentiate yourself. In the book Blue Ocean, they talk about Cirque du Soleil, whereas all these other circuses were going out of work. They started to differentiate themselves by doing something different, and they created a whole new market of their own. I mean, the book could have been like an article, I thought. And I think it was an article initially. Savita says, I downloaded Android Studio today. Cool. Christopher says, hey, Eric, when it comes to app ideas, do you validate them? And if so, how do you? Not really. I mean, I validate them to see if they already exist. But I don't validate them. Like, no, not really. And a lot of times people will want me to validate their app ideas for them, and I tell them I don't. Like, we have to get something out there and test it and see how it does. We go from the gut instinct of what's going to work and what doesn't. So that's why I think I don't agree with the idea that you should spend a year in development and then release your masterpiece and just hope. I think you should release, like, if you have a masterpiece idea, you should release something else first to get to know the process, and then you know enough to do your masterpiece. Let's see. Yudi says, with your clients, how do you structure the payments? Do they pay percentage up front, and how do the following payments work on app launch? So we used to do 25% up front, 25% at the end of development, and then 50% at go live. So and lately we just been going to 50-50. It used to make sense when iOS was taking like 10 days to approve, and sometimes they would reject, so we might be a month before we actually got that last payment. But now it's like just days. So it's so the whole 25-50 thing didn't really work out, so we go 50-50. I do think you should always have at least a little bit of money up front to get skin into the game. You don't want somebody just skipping out on you. Fernando says, I knew the channel yesterday. It looks really nice. Congrats. Hi from Brazil. Thanks, Fernando. I really appreciate it. Did you subscribe, Fernando? Let's see. Sony says it takes a long time to build all that. It took me years to master Swift and Kotlin. Yes, design patterns finally. Design patterns are I remember by the Gang of Four. Thanks, Cordfunk. Yeah, design patterns. I can remember somebody. I was working at BNP Paribas, and it was another developer there who would come in, and there's always like there have been places where I worked where I was kind of like the go-to guy for a lot of stuff, but like I knew there were people that were like better than me, and I was intimidated by them. Like there's this one guy, Jonathan, who he was told me all about the design patterns. He goes, I'm using the decorator pattern on this. I go, oh really? Design patterns? I go, it sounds like something I would like. It's like I didn't know what it was, but I thought I did, because I thought design patterns, I know what those mean individually. And then I thought, no. Then I started reading on it, and then he recommended me that book, the Head Start one, and that was it was a really good book, where you start thinking, okay, I can see why this is. I can see why you would use that, why you use that. And whenever you move to another language, it's like some of those principles stay in, like singleton and that kind of stays. Like how would you do that? And then the decorator pattern and the state patterns. But it was like I went into understood it. And every time I've tried to use it, and I remember trying to use it like with other developers since then, and like I couldn't, because I couldn't get them on board with it. It's like almost like you had to have somebody on the same wavelength. Like this is like when you see like really efficient software houses, they're all like on the same wavelength. They understand why they do it. They'll talk about their processes like with just like really like just the gleam in their, like there's a glint in their eyes. They talk about the process. Okay, so we check this. So this was Subversion. So we check this into Subversion, would automatically add a ticket to Jira, and then it goes to the tester. The tester goes through, they test it off, and then it goes to the continuous integration, which gets build. And we got the beta build, alpha build, and it goes there, and everything is automated, and everything goes through. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, yeah. And there's other projects. Like, for me, there's a lot of projects where like, I just code it and upload it and build it, right? Just being lazy. But I understand why all that stuff is important, especially when you have those big teams which need to work together. And that's one of the things where design patterns are really good. You have that shorthand with how things should work. And one of the things when you're working with a lot of junior developers, it gets very frustrating when you try to explain how this, like it just makes total sense to you that how this would work, right? They say, okay, we can't. An example is when you had web pages that were, you don't want to, like you would have something where you'd have a multi-step wizard, and you didn't want to have to store the state in the JavaScript through every step of the wizard, because if you went to that final submit and it failed, then they lost too much data. I've seen this happen too many times in web applications, especially in the early days when they were not that reliable. So you'd have somebody enter like pages and pages of data, they hit submit, and then the server would go down, or whatever, they'd reach, they would fail, and then you would get I had some mad, angry users come to me. I wasn't the coder on it, but I mean, I just as well could have been. I was like doing support for it, so I had people screaming on me on the phone at this one investment bank, because I was like the junior developers. They put me on support. And they were like, I spent 2 hours filling this form, and when I hit save, everything crashed. So you tell the junior developers, that's why we need to save incrementally. We need to keep saving it. And they go, well, yeah, but whatever. And then well, that's why you need to have a flag on it to say whether or not it's completed. So there's a state involved in there. So even though you're going from step to step to step, you need to have something in there that says, okay, now you're in a started state, you're in a pending state, you're in a draft state, you're in a finalized state. And then they say, well, what if you have too many drafts? It fills up the database, and you guys like, then we just delete it, and blah 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 blah, going on. But that's the kind of stuff that you just, when you talk to junior developers, it's almost like you have to lead them through the process that you took to learn, so they have to learn it on their own. Savita says, today I was on the Android Studio. I saw Android Jetpack, and it shocked me because I don't even know complete Java for Android Studio, and now they're using only Kotlin on that IDE. Oh. Yeah, Alessio. Hey, Alessio, how's it going? Says Sony put some keywords in the title next to the app. Hey, how's it going? Hawk says, for a person new to app development but with some experience in enterprise software and is keen to start an app agency, is it necessary for him to get some work experience before starting one? Is it necessary? It's not necessary. I mean, if you're new to app development with some experience in enterprise software and is keen to start an app agency, it's necessary to get some work experience before starting one. I don't think it's necessary. You're at the point where, I mean, you might learn some stuff, but you could also learn it from trial and error too. And even if you got some work experience, like let's say you went to go work for an app agency, is how close can you get to the owner to see what they do and how they do stuff, so when you're doing it on your own. A lot of the stuff I learned, or I wish I'd pay more attention on some of the contracts and jobs that I've had, but I'll go back to the owners sometimes and say, you know what, have you ever had problems with this? Have you ever, like, what would you do in this situation? Because you always seem so confident, and they're like, oh, yeah, and they'll tell you that either they were like, they were confident with, like if I have trouble with a client, sometimes I'll go back to one of my old bosses, and I'll just say, yeah, how did you, like, did you ever have an issue with this? And you find that it's not as you know, even though they were very confident at the time, they still have the same issues that you might have. And I wish I'd listened more and learn more as they go. But I don't think it's necessary, Hawk. I think you could, you're going to learn one way or the other. You know, you can learn by watching somebody else, or you can learn on your own. And if you want to watch somebody else, make sure that's what you do, and you don't just get into a job and not pay attention like me. Savita says, "Sir, how much a freelancer can earn on freelancing website, and is it very hard to get a client on the freelancing website?" I don't know. I mean, if you're talking about like freelancer.com, I would imagine there's so much competition out there. I don't even know what the going rate is. I think you should look to see if you went on Upwork and looked at what people are charging for the skills that you wanted, and then also look at their job history if they're getting anything, because you see a lot of people on Upwork who have had no jobs. Like and a few of them have had a lot. Hawk says, "My app just got removed. How do I resubmit it? My app after fixing the problem. I uploaded a new APK, but nothing is happening." So you're talking about, so Hawk, if it's removed, you have to go through and create a new version of the application. Is this on Google Play or Android? So you should be able to just go through, upload the new one, put in the release notes, and then just submit it. If it's just removed on Google Play, that's what I've done. I can't think if there's any other steps that I've done. Flobin Del Moro, hey, how's it going? Says, "Hi, Eric. I started learning game development for Android 6 months ago. Since then, I've been watching your videos. Can you review my game, Smart Marble Run?" Sure. Let's have a look here. All right, Smart Marble Run. And this is Flobin. Thank you very much for watching for the last 6 months. Are you subscribed? Is everybody out there subscribed? I'm going to make a pitch for that. Let's see, Smart Marble Run. Is this, hang on a second. Flobin, is this it? Is it, it's not Li Bang, is it? Let's see, I'm going to wait for Flobin to come back, because I might be, I'm assuming yeah, you said Android development. Smart Marble Run. Li Bang, let's see, is it, okay, that's it, okay. Oh, so your name is Li Bang? Is it Chinese? Nishijogorema? Is it Flobin, Dale Moro, Li Bang? I thought it was a Chinese name, sorry. Okay, so you got the video on here. Cool. This is a 2-player game. You play against this machine. Ooh, that looks cool. It looks cool. Let's see. Okay, the video looks good. The goal of the game is to make another player drop the last marble. The last player to drop the marble loses the game. So I mean, if we're looking at this on, I don't know if you could do this with your editor software, depending on what software you use. But because you're using the portrait mode, you have all this space here where you can put the text. And to me, that looks like the game Mousetrap, because I'm old. Like, but I mean, that could be a keyword that you can use: Mousetrap, Smart Marbles, all that kind of stuff. So you have that, and really make use of all the, you know, how all that works, because to me that looks really cool. And a lot of times when I talk about something, I say this is really cool. I really think this is awesome. A lot of people say this is like other ones, but I think this looks really cool, Flobin. But like let's take a look at, let's go. So okay, even though it's cool, I think the text could change a little bit here. You can have a bit more on these screenshots, but I think the icon to me doesn't look like, it doesn't really say a lot what it does. So it's Smart Marble Run. Let's go back to that. Let's fix it. Marble. Wait, Smart Marble Run. Let's take that quotes out, because I think we had a lot more on there for Marble Run. Marble Run. So Yeah, and if I were to look at it from a Marble Run point of view, if those were the keywords you were targeting, I think a lot of these icons are a little bit more they jump out at me a little bit more. Not that one. That's just a clip art one. That one looks really cool. Not so much. But again, it's like what works. So I think the game looks really cool. I think the icon could use some work. And then thinking about how people find it. Like for me, I would think the game Mousetrap would be what it looks like to me. And again, I haven't really played Mousetrap, but there used to be a game like that. Let me see if I can Google it. It was like a board game. Yeah, it was kind of like this type of thing here, where you build up that. So I mean that could be another keyword if somebody was searching for it, because obviously people aren't doing that. That's just from my own personal experience. But what do the rest of you guys think here? Oh. Let's see. Oh, where was I? So that was Flobin. Joe Hanzeb, hey, how's it going? Hey, Josie, how's it going? Alex Davies, hi, Eric. I really enjoy your videos. I've been learning a lot from you. Cheers. Thanks, Alex. I really appreciate it. Josh says, Rodrigo, I personally think that app creators don't bother thinking blue ocean. That's what I mean, is by that they don't bother with things like creating YouTube videos. Yeah, I suppose for me, doing the YouTube videos were like Josh. That was like a way I thought that was a way that we could differentiate ourselves. And I see there are other companies out there that do it too, but not that many. But yeah, I think that there's lots of ways that we can differentiate ourselves and think about. My whole thing was somebody's going to go through and look at the top 5 app companies. They're going through the list, googling what would make us stand out a little bit more. And I thought the videos would be a way to do that. But again, there's other, they all kind of, there's a lot of other really good app development companies out there. I just said nothing. I just said nothing in that last sentence. Let's see. Core Funk's a nice plug, Eric. Did I do something wrong? Let's see. Sentinel says, what do you look for when examining a junior developer's portfolio? For me, let me answer that one first. So, for me, like a junior developer, because they're a junior developer just getting started, I'm looking for somebody who's, you know what I really like to see is somebody who knows about the industry. I like somebody who knows, even though they don't have the experience, they're still, they've got, like if I say, what can you tell me about Kotlin? And they have an opinion about it, not, even if it's like I haven't used it, but they should know something about it. Like somebody who reads up on stuff. That was something I was always really good at interviews doing, was just knowing the industry. Like, because we're professionals. We're professionals in the industry. And there's one thing I hate hearing when you ask a question about something they may or may not know about. They say, oh, my boss wouldn't let me. My last boss wouldn't let me. And that's something I heard a lot. I wanted to use C#, but not and I think it's, as a professional, it's kind of our responsibility to know at least a little bit about the industry. Although, like Jesse said, when you think about Apple Arcade, I'm thinking, but in general, just knowing a bit about the industry. Like if we have a client that comes in and asks me about something, I should know, like they shouldn't do just out of left field. And I think as a developer, if you have some sort of, a junior developer, you have some sort of, say, what technologies do you like and why? That would be a good question to answer. Not, whatever job you have. Even though developers are generally, I mean, we're all generally a bit, sorry if that's any of you guys calling me. Junior developers are generally a bit nervous when they go into interviews, just like everybody is. Let's see. All right. How long have I been talking when I was on the wrong screen? Let's see. Who said thank God? All right. All right. How long have I been on that screen? Sorry about that. So somebody calling me to tell me that? About 2 minutes. Guys, this is why I need somebody to help me with this. I need a moderator. All right. All right. I'm so professional. So I was answering a question about something. Let's see. Go back. Wrong screen. Pork grind. Intro in the middle of the video. Yeah. Eric's a moron. Everybody's put in the comments Eric's a moron. Oh, I could take it. Let's see. Hawk says, washer hua. Is that Huaka? Well, let's see. Based on the old game, Dr. Him. Let's see. Dung Nguyen Chien. Anh le Nui Viet Cong. Let's see. Hi, Eric. Your channel is very useful for me. Could you share how long you should spend to develop an app? It depends on the app. I think, like I said, it depends on how many developers you have. If you're doing it yourself, how much time you have to do it. It really is difficult to put a time scale on something when you don't really know what it is. Every application is different. But I think your goal should be to get it live as soon as possible. And I don't mean like just put something out there that's terrible, like just like some rubbish, but just get something out there so that you can see the whole process, and then you can start to refine it and to build on it. Because a lot of the process is going to be the keyword optimization and getting people in to use it. Rodrigo, you changed the wrong OBS screen. I'm glad you guys all know the OBS side of things. So wrong screen, you're playing the wrong intro now. Can't hear anything. Shut up, guys. I love this song. Intro in the middle of the video, wrong screen. Fortunately, the music's kind of cool. I have two questions. Welcome Hell says, I have two questions about Google Play at the recent announcement. How was it changed from 32 bits to 66 bits affect already published apps? It shouldn't do, but you're going to get to the point. I mean, I think they give you some time. Like at the moment, it's only for updates. So what they want to do is move everybody to 64-bit because it's holding the development, it's holding the platform back. But you're going to get to the point where you're not going to be able to support later apps if you're not going to upgrade them. So, and a lot of times, if you're using like Android Studio or Chrome, a lot of them, it's just a case of recompiling it, unless you're doing something really low level. Let's see. Are you planning an Overpass intro? Let's see. Josie says, "Are you planning an Overpass intro?" I don't think so. Welcome Hell says, "And the new guidelines for icons is going to be easy to implement or not?" I'm not sure. Okay, that one I don't know about. I should know that. I should know the answer to that one. Let's see. Pork pie, wrong screen, could be A/B test. Eric, video CH Development said, Eric, video series idea. Document launching an app to the stories and how you add the screenshots and descriptions and how to tweak the listings, etc. That would be cool. That would actually be really cool. I need to do something new so that we can do that. See. So like I can't do it for a client application because every time I release an app over the last year, it's been client applications. So like I can't really show that, but yeah, that should be something. Yudi said April Fool's prank. Yeah, that put in the intro in. That was one thing when I did a video on Monday. Everybody says, "Is this an April Fool's prank?" And I realized I didn't do anything for April Fool's. Just let it go. Let's see. Sammy, that was one hell of an intro. Yep. Lol. Let's see. Sorry, dude, can't hear you. Intro music. Now I'm stuck. That's how I got all this. You guys are all shouting at me, and I wasn't even scrolling down. I'm just yammering away. Oh, we're getting kind of late though. Let's see. I want my money back now. Never heard this song before. Let's see. Watching now. Keeps dropping out. Thank God. Let's see. All right. Eric is a gangster. Thanks. Eric is not a moron. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate that. Oh, Rodrigo, was that you who called me? All right. Thank you very much. That got me out of my thing. Let's say all good. 4 minutes where we're listening to the song instead of you. Well, this is a good song. Let's see. We've got Borama Apps is sharing a video. Do I want to show it? Let's see. YouTube is blocking it, but let's just have a look to see if it's something relevant. It'd be good if you put what it is. It's a scene from Twins. Thanks. Let's see. Let's see. CordFunk says, have you started to target SDK greater than 28? I have not. I'm still doing 26. Let's see. How much of the app should we complete before first release? Josie, you should release, when you release an app, when I talk about it, releasing it, the only person who knows everything that's going to be included in the app is you, if you're the developer, right? You have an idea of the roadmap for everything. So let's give it let's take a scenario. Let's take an app. Let's take okay, let's take one of my language learning apps. So my language learning app has a home screen, it has category screen, it has levels, and it has a gameplay screen, and it has a high score screen. So that's so that would be the basics. But I also want users to be able to see the statistics. I want them to be able to add their own vocabulary words. I want them to be able to submit to a leaderboard. I want them to be able to change the different types of characters in the game. I want them to be able to customize certain things, right? Some of those are necessary for the app. Some of them need, like version 1 needs to have those, otherwise it's not an app, right? Other things like leaderboards I could add later, right? If it's going to contribute to the time of it. When I talk about releasing something early, in your mind you might think, okay, eventually I want this to have all-encompassing, to do everything, but you don't really know if anybody's going to use it to begin with. So you could say, add another several months onto development to do all these little bells and whistles, and really you don't. And then once you release it, you don't know if anybody's going to do it. But if you get that first version out there, and I'm not saying release something that's incomplete, I'm saying release something that's the minimum viable product, or the MVP. So the keyword there is viable, like it could actually work as a product. And people say, hey, you should add this, you should add this. You know that it's on the roadmap, but they don't. That's what I mean when I talk about the minimum amount. Tech guy, about the song, I heard the talk from Toxic Cars the first time from your intro. I found them on eBay and cannot believe how good they are and how much they are underrated. Yeah, no, I've included that in the videos for ages. I really like that song. Let's see. Leandro says, hi Eric, do you know of any phone finger for Android? I would like to make demo videos of my games simulating phone fingers. I don't know of any for Android. In fact, for me, recording an Android screen I always found difficult. I know it's easier now than it used to be, but I always found difficult recording a screen on Android. When I used phone finger, I was doing it using Camtasia and filming my screen so that it was actually the Mac pointer. So I would load the emulator up. I was doing Corona, but I could also do the emulator there. So I could just do a screen recording and use phone finger to simulate that. So change the background, my desktop background, and I was just doing that. And that was a way for me just to quickly do it. I suppose I could have done it in an editing software, but it would have been more complicated to do. I've tried it. My first ones were trying to film the phone. So I have one phone here and you know, tapping on one and the other, and it was like the hard bit about filming a phone, like an actual physical phone, is getting the lighting right. You either have to turn the lights off and just film it, which looks weird, or you have to do something like screen. It's the glare on the screen. That's the problem I've always had, and there may be ways to get around it that some professional videographer knows how to do, but I never knew how to do it. I just got a text message that I need to get going here in a minute. But let's see, it's probably a good idea. I think it's better target SDK greater or equal than 28. So actually, CordFunk, so I was trying to build my app. I was trying to build Ear Agent this week, and for some reason it wasn't compiling. And I was thinking, what changed in Android Studio? Because nothing's changed, and it's not compiling for some reason. And either I've changed something, I've deleted something, I'm trying to clean up my hard drive or something, but yeah, I got to do that. So I might as well do it now. I do need to get a new version out there. Tech guy says, how much does your second and third best earning apps earn? A lot less. So it's, but there's some. Like I've always believed. Years ago I read this book by a guy who just spent all his time creating those cheap review websites, and like so he would spend a day, like just really simple website, put it out, you know, buy the domain, do a cheap website with reviews on it or about products, put it on Google, optimize it, and he would make pennies per day on it. But the more he started to build that up, then he would start to get the revenue in, even though it was pennies from each one. And I kind of thought that's what I wanted to do. The problem with that is on the Apple side, they started to reject everything after I got too many apps. On Google, I still have a lot that are really bad. And like even sometimes I got a few that have been removed, and they were just making like maybe $1 a month. I'm thinking, is it really worth going in there and doing it? But in the long run, it would be. CH Development says Android screen has a recording function. Has it always had that? It's been a while. Most of the recording I'm doing now on iPhone, just because it's easy to plug in using QuickTime on a Mac. But let's see. Josh Marston says, Leandro, drop me a PM. I found a free one. Okay, cool. Let's see. Sentinel says, do you target app stores on the desktop? No, I never have. I thought about it. I mean, it's one of these things. Oh no, I've done the Mac App Store. And that was working for a while. But yes. Leandro, thank you for your videos and tips. Hey, no problem. Matthew Principle, CordFunk says. I don't know what that means. Let's see. But I'm going to have to wrap this up. I think I've answered all the questions. If I haven't answered the question, please let me know now before I go to the screen of doom, which I just went to early already. The Matthew effect says, the Matthew Principle says, oh, the Matthew effect, so let me go to this screen share. So thank you for this, CordFunk. I've never heard of this one. The Matthew effect of accumulated advantage can be observed in many aspects of fields of activity. It summarizes by the adage, to get richer, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. The concept is applicable to matters of fame. Term was going by. Is that? Am I looking at the right thing? Accumulated advantage. Cool. All right. So everybody, thank you so much for joining on the live stream. Sorry for going to the wrong intro partway through. Thanks for phoning Rodrigo to get me back on track. And I'm try to get better at these live streams. So it's been an hour and 50 minutes. Thanks everybody who stuck with us for all this time. Thanks for watching the videos every day. Like I said, tomorrow there's going to be no videos. There's going to be no videos this weekend. I might stop doing them on weekends, but I really just couldn't think of anything to talk about today, and that's the reason I didn't. But you know, so but if you guys got any topics you want me to talk about, let me know. And that's it. I'll talk to you guys. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys Monday on the daily video. And this is the outro I should have done at the time.
Taking this blindfold off to see what this life's all about. Threw my virtues to the ground, drinking from the